Kelly Swanson is saying, I have a question. How do you talk to your guides? This is such an amazing subject. Oh my God, we can teach a whole master class on this subject because there's so much to this. And so, how do you talk to your guides? So, here are a few tips I can give you right away. The very first thing you can do is talk to your guides in your dreams. So here's what I mean by that. So as you fall asleep at night, tell yourself, tonight in my dreams I will meet with my guides and I will receive information and I will wake up and I'll remember the dream. So that's a very valid way for you to talk to your guides. And because it happens in the dream state, you don't question it, right? You don't say, well, did I imagine this? So that's one way. Another way for you to talk to your guides is to actually meditate. Because remember, what you're really asking is not so much that you talk, because you're constantly talking to your guides. It's about actually hearing your guides and hearing the guidance. So that's what you're really asking. So the way to hear best the guidance is to be in a relaxed state and just chill in there in the open space, in the void of the unknown. Sit there with infinite love. Give over your anger and frustrations and the stories that make you feel small and like you're not winning. Just put all of that to the side. Just surrender to love. Just chill with divine love. Feel it in your body, and then simply observe what pops in your mind at the end of the meditation, after the meditation, right? Not in the middle of it, because if it's in the middle of it, it's your mind simply not able to relax deep enough. So meditation is another way. A third way is for you to be in a very active conversation with the divine. In other words, use everything around you as a oracle. That's a good word, oracle. However, here's the thing, because the brain is very well suited for pattern recognition. You may be able to recognize your signs and symbols that you're asking for very well, and see them right away. So not always have them as a clear guidance, if that makes sense to you, right? So this is for my friends out there who are a lot more closely connected to their subconscious, who can just flow with that a lot easier. Another way is use a pendulum. My mom is extraordinary at using the pendulum. Oh my God, this woman, she drops into trance very quickly, and she absolutely channels and receives the information. And my mom and I learned how to use the pendulum around the same time. Her abilities and skills with that are beyond mine, right? Like when I have questions about me and my life, I go and I'm like, Mom, can you ask the pendulum for me? So another way. Now, however, again, if you're not in that easy flow of using the pendulum, take it with a grain of salt, all right? Because again, if you are a person who is so far away from receiving guidance, you might then turn around and say, this doesn't work. Why did it lie to me? And I'll be like, you have a harder time letting information flow. Another way is for you to simply journal. I love this method, and I describe it in my book, Beyond Past Lives. So here's the exercise. At the top of the page, simply write the question as if it's being presented to another person, to your guides, about yourself and third person, right? So kind of distance yourself from this experience of this writing, and then just simply pretend. You might even want to switch pens so that in a way it's the switching of energy in your head. pen colors, I mean, and then simply pretend in your head that you're this benevolent, magnificent being, and you are stepping in the shoes of your guides, and you're talking about Mira in third person, and you're going to give Mira a whole lot of good advice. And of course, I don't mean Mira in your case, I mean you, your name. So for example, Rob being with us, if Rob were to do this exercise, it would be like imagining that he's stepping in the shoes of his guides, and then he's speaking from the place of that own knowing benevolence and pretending that Rob is his guides and speaking about Rob in third person. Makes sense, right? So all these are very valid ways for you to tap into guidance. But here's the most important thing I want to say. I saved the best for last. Here's the most important. Thank you, Rob. Thank you for saying thank you for the shout out. Here's the most important thing I want to share with you about receiving guidance. So years ago, when I started on my spiritual path and my spiritual journey, I used to get so frustrated with my guides. I used to be like, you guys, speak louder. I want to hear you right here in my ear. I want to know when it's you and when it's me. I want it so clear. And of course, that comes from a place of inexperience. That comes from a place of uncertainty and uneasiness. And so what I discovered over the years is that my strongest intuitive sense is actually knowingness. So there are different senses, right? And being able to perceive through visual images that come through you, hearing, knowing in my case, right? All these psychic clear senses. And so for me, it's actually knowingness. I simply know. And so I learned with time that if I just allow myself to talk, if I just talk, I'm able to actually channel information for others really very easily, and just talk because I know, and I don't know how I know, and I don't know what I'm saying, if what I'm saying matters or if it's relevant or how it's going to serve the person, but just talk. So discover what is the most important of the senses of how information is presented to you. And of course, now over the years, I have been able to have my moments when I actually, with audio, with hearing, I hear guidance and I hear direction and I hear answers. And here's the funny part, it never sounds surprising. It's always like, oh, okay, all right, I got it. And I go do the thing. Rob, are you wanting to jump on the call and in the video and ask a question? I would love that. I received a notification that you want to join the video. So I wonder if it was by mistake. I don't want to pull you into the video if it was by mistake. But if there's something you want to share or ask, I'll be so happy to add you into the call. So let me know. And so that's really what I actually want to encourage you. Figure out what of the senses works for you, experiment and play with it, and really allow it to feed you, allow it to expand you. And and here is the other secret to this whole guidance business. Just simply decide, I'm so happy you're intrigued by all of this. So simply decide that you trust yourself and that you receive guidance. And remember, this is mastery of mind, words, and energy. And you're always able to discern the guidance, and you're always able to discern when it's you and when it's the guides, and that you have a very clear connection with your guides. and that you're able to communicate with them and receive information very easily on a daily basis, multiple times a day. You feel so supported, so guided. You feel every step of the way being supported, right? So that's the setup, the overarching setup you actually want to bring into this whole guidance thing, because then it's easy, right? No matter which one of the tools that you use, that I gave you earlier, no matter which one sparks your interest and you apply, it's going to work for you, because you decided, you already said to the divine, you already spoke to your subconscious, and you already know that it's working. So I want to share with you how I communicate with my subconscious. This is what I do these days, and it really delights me and excites me. So, because of all the mushroom journeys I have done, I have a profound, profound understanding, really to the core of my being, that I'm not alone, that I'm deeply held, that I'm deeply connected. So, I know that there's more to this, right? Like, the reality around me is very, very connected and magical and sparkly. I see reality differently. And so, because of that, I know there was a period of time when everything I asked for in a mushroom journey will actually happen. And it was mind blowing to me, because it was. Then all of a sudden it became that everything I asked for outside of it started happening. So it literally felt like somebody's always listening. It felt like I'm always given everything I need. Everything is right then and there. That everything is just a perfect instantaneous orchestration created just for me, just for you, just for everybody. So it was a very clear feeling of I'm connected. And because of that, I have the freedom to communicate with my subconscious. So I see the subconscious as the giant on whose shoulders my ego, my conscious self is sitting. So my subconscious is the one that runs the show, all right? So what, 95-96% of everything in my life is being run by my subconscious, even though, of course, my ego thinks it's making wildly crazy choices, and it has all this insane freedom, right? And also my ego runs my body, maintains my subconscious, creates and maintains my body. So we gotta be on the good side of our subconscious, right? So I have a very beautiful working relationship with my subconscious. I bring it into everything I do and create. I don't batter it down. I don't see it as a dark basement where nothing good happens and it's just filled with terrible things, right? I see my subconscious as this extraordinary, powerful part of me that has opinions and knows what's best for me and wants to help me and wants to make everything right and takes direction from me, because my ego's part is to observe physical reality and make choices and make preferences, but not insist on them. This is the important thing, right? When it comes to the ego's part in this whole thing. So I observe, I decide, I make choices, and then I give them to my subconscious and I say, all right, you big guy, you and my inner self, you and my soul, you know better what's here and what are we doing here. So this is what I prefer, but you see what's best for us. I'm open to anything, but I still prefer this, and I'm still gonna tell you what I want, but we're gonna do this together. So if you have a different opinion, tell me, talk to me, right? Like, that's my attitude. And so because I always know I'm being heard, I'm always being heard. Remember the mushroom journeys. Um, uh, uh, so um, I always talk to my subconscious. So, yesterday, the other day, I was talking to my subconscious and I was like, my subconscious, this needs to be clear and released. Please do everything that you need to do on your end for this to be done. Today, again, I was like, my subconscious, you need to take charge here. You need to do this for me. You need to protect me. You need to make sure this is working. And sure enough, a situation unfolded which gave me exactly what I was asking for. So you just make sure you keep talking, and you make sure you keep trusting yourself to trust the impulses and act on them, and then the divine is always right there dancing with you.